Hello, this is Maestro Maravilla. Welcome back to Eureka Math. We're doing 6th grade math and we are in module number 2. So today we are going to be working on lesson number 5. And lesson number 5 is called Creating Division Stories. Okay, so let's get started. So for the opening exercise, we are going to be we're dividing 8 nines by 2 nines. So in other words, we're taking those 8 nines and then we're going to be making groups of 2 nines. So we're going to focus this time on measurement. We're going to focus on measurement, division. For this one, we focus on building our tape diagram based on the first fraction. So we build it based or model or tape diagram based on the first fraction. And then we are going to break that into groups of 2 nines. Okay, so let's build a box that has 9 boxes, and then we're going to go ahead and shade 8 out of the 9. So this will look like this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more, 9. Close this. Okay, there we are. So 9. And then we are going to go ahead and shade in 8 out of the 9. Okay, so shade 1, shade 2, shade 3, shade 4, 5, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. Okay, so now 8 out of the 9 are shaded. So that represents my first fraction. So we can say that these are 8 out of the 9. So 8 out of the 9. Okay. And this is measurement division. Now we're going to break those 8 nines into groups of 12 nines. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So we break 1, 2. Okay. So that's one group. So then we can say that from here to here is one group of 2 nines. Okay. And then we're going to get another 2. And then we can say that this is another 2 nines. We can get one more group, and this is 2 nines. Finally, we get the final group, and this is another group of 2 nines. Now, you'll notice that each time I had groups of 2 nines, I was able to shade 2 out of 2 or 1. Right? So I was able to shade 2 out of 2 or 1. Right? So the next group, I was able to shade 2 out of 2 or 1. The final group, shade 2 out of 2 or 1. So then my answer would be how many groups was I able to make? And my answer is I was able to make 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups of 2 nines, and therefore my answer is 4. Another thing to keep in mind is that when we are doing division and the division have common denominators, 8 nines divided by 2 nines, my denominators match. They're the same denominator, so they just cancel each other out. And then my answer are my numerators. So 8 divided by 2. So my answer is 8 divided by 2. I simplify that, and my answer then is 4. Okay. Okay, so the next part of the opening exercise, we have a number line. It says Moles's friend, Xavier, also has 11 eighths cups of strawberries. He needs 3/4 cup of strawberries to make a batch of tarts. How many batches can he make? So they want us to draw a model and to support this solution. Okay, so we're going to do both. We're going to do a tape diagram, and then we're also going to do a number line. So let's start with a tape diagram. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to understand that I have 11/8 cups of strawberries, and they need to be divided by 3/4 because it takes 3/4 of those 11/8 to make a batch of tarts. So then first step here is to make common denominators. Okay, what I can do here is I know that I have the 8 and I have the 4. My first denominator is 8. My second denominator is 4. So I can make my second denominator, the 4, turn into an 8 by multiplying by 2. But if I multiply my denominator by 2, I must also multiply my numerator by 2. Okay, and what would I get? So I leave my first fraction, which is 11/8, divided by, and then I multiply. 3 times 2 will give me 6, and then 4 times 2 will give me 8. Now I'm going to base my model based off of that, now that I have common denominators. Okay, so I have common denominators, and I'm going to make my model based on the first fraction, which is 11/8. So I need to be able to shade 11 out of 8. Okay, so then I'm going to make my boxes here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This represents one whole, but I need another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now I can close this. Okay, so I have it there. So then once again from here, I'm gonna go ahead and shade in 11 out of 8. Okay, so I'm gonna shade 11 of 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 1, 8 out of 8. But I need to continue. 9, 10, 11. Okay, so then all of that is 11/8. Okay, all of that. It's my 11/8. So then what do I need to do? I need to break this now into groups of 6/8 and see how many groups I can make, because that's how many batches of tart I'll be able to make. Okay. So then I'm going to start counting. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So up to there. There's my first group. That's a group of 6 out of 6. Okay, so 8, 6. But I'm also shading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 6. Okay, because I need groups of 6. So then this tells me that I have one batch right there. Now to make another batch, I need another 6 of 8. So then I'm going to go ahead and count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice that I am missing 1 here to make a complete batch. I was only able to shade 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 out of the 6 that I needed. So I can say that I was only able to do 5 out of the 6. So then there is my answer. 1 batch plus 5, 6. So my answer is 1 and 5/6. Okay. Now you will also notice that when we have common denominators, right? I got my 3/4. I found an equivalent fraction to it, and my equivalent fraction to 3/4 is 6/8. And I'm using 6/8 so that it matches my denominator with the 11/8. Now they're common denominators, and once they're common denominators, then the 8s will just cancel, and then my answer is just going to be 11 divided by 6. So my first numerator divided by my second numerator, which is 11/6. I can simplify this. How many times can I fit 6 into the 11? 1 time, and I'll have a remainder of 5/6. So 5/6. So then I can say that Xavier has enough to make 1 and 5/6 batches. So we couldn't quite make 2. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to example number 1. Number one, we have 1/2 divided by 1/8. So the first thing we have to do is decide on interpretation. What does that mean? There's two ways I can do this division. I can do measurement division, or I can do partitive division. The way I like to think about this is when you have measurement division, you usually have common denominators. And we also do our model based on the first fraction. Partitive division, the way I like to think about it is I like to do the reciprocal, where you flip the second fraction to calculate the quotient. And we always use the model, we draw the model based on the second fraction, okay? For this particular case, we are going to go ahead and do measurement interpretation. And so the first thing would be to find the common denominators. To do that, notice that the 2 can be turned into an 8 by multiplying by 4. Then I'll also have to multiply my numerator by 4. So then I can say 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And then divided by 1/8. Okay, now I know that 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8, and I'm going to be using 4/8, so it has a common denominator as 1/8. You will also notice that now they have a common denominator, and when they do that, my denominators cancel each other, and my answer is on my numerator. So it will be 4 divided by 1, which will give me 4/1, and this is equal to 4. But the model, we always do the model based on the set of fractions that have a common denominator. And we're going to base the model on the first fraction, which is 4/8. So we'll need to draw 8 boxes in shade 4 because I need 4 out of 8. So let's do that. Okay, so need to draw 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I will close it. Then I will need to shade in 4 out of the 8. So there is 1, there is 2, there is 3, there is 4. Okay, so this right here is my 4 out of 8. Okay, that's my 4 out of 8. Now I need to break it into groups of 1/8 and see how many groups I can make. And then the number of groups I can make, then that will become my answer. So then if I break this into groups, then I can say, okay, this is 1/8, that's one group. This is 1/8, that's a second group. This is 1/8, that's a third group. And finally, this is 1/8, and that's a fourth group. So once again, one group plus one group plus one group plus one group is equal to 4, and my answer is 4. Okay, so now step 3 is asking us to find the answer. So I had 1/2 divided by 1/8. We said that we can find common denominators by turning the 2 into an 8 by multiplying by 4. So then this would be 4/8 divided by 1/8. 8s will cancel, and this is equal to 4/1, which is 4. We can also say that you have 4/8 divided by 1/8, and the 8 will cancel, and then you have 4 divided by 1, and that's equal to 4. Okay. Okay, so now it says choose a unit. Here, you can use any unit of measurement that you like. Units of measurement being, grams, milligrams, pounds. In this case, let's stick to pounds. Let's use that. Step number 5, set up a situation based upon the model. Again, you can come up with any situation you can think of, any type of problem. You can probably say something like, if I have 1/2 a pound of flour, and then it takes 1/8 to make a batch of cookies, then how many batches of cookies can I make? But again, you can make up your own story there, your own situation. Exercise 1 says using the same dividend and divisor. So dividend and divisor. So in other words, using the same problem from the previous example. And that was 1/2 right there divided by 1/8. Okay, so using that those same numbers. So 1/2 divided by 1/8. So work with a partner to create your own story problem. You may use the same unit, but your situation must be unique. Try other units such as ounces, yards, or miles if you prefer. Okay, so then there's a number of different possibilities, a number of different stories. We can probably write down the one we came up before. We can say, if I have 1/2 a pound of flour and it takes 1/8 of the pound to make a cookie, then how many cookies can I make? Right, and so this is just one example that I'm coming up with, but you can come up with your own. So again, the answer here would be 4 cookies, right? Okay, so let's go to example number 2. Okay, so in this example number 2, I have 3/4 divided by 1/2. Okay, so first says decide on interpretation. Measurement or partitive. For this lesson, we are going to stick with measurement. Interpretation, and this usually involves common denominators. So in this case, I can look at my denominators and I see that it's a 4 and a 2, and I can easily see that the 2 can go into the 4 by multiplying it times 2. So I will just multiply it times 2 to make it common denominator. So I'll leave my first fraction, that's 3/4, divided by, then I multiply 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2, that would give me 4. Okay, now let's go ahead. Remember that when we draw our tape diagram, then we're going to do this based on the first fraction. So I'm going to need to make 4 little boxes and shading 3. So 3 out of the 4. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here's my diagram. Okay, so cut it in half, then cut it in half again. So there's my 4. Now I'm going to need to shade in 3 out of the 4. So let's go ahead and do that. So there's 1, there's 2, there is 3. So I shaded in 3 out of the 4. So then I can say that those 3 represent my 3 out of the 4. So now I need to break them into groups of 2/4. So I need to break them into groups of 2/4. Okay, so then I grab the first 2. 1, 2. That is 2 out of 4. And then the next group, 1, 2. However, notice that in my next group, I couldn't really shade the 2. I only shaded 1 out of the 2. So only 1 out of the 2. So I was only able to make one group plus my 1 out of the 2. So then if I add them together, this would be 1 and 1/2. And that is my answer. Okay. So then if I find the answer, to find the answer, 3/4 divided by 1/2. 3/4 divided by 1/2. Then we said that the 2 can be turned into a 4 by multiplying it times 2. So then first I leave my first fraction. Then I multiply 1 times 2 will give me 2. 2 times 2 would give me 4. Okay, now you notice that at this point, my denominators are the same. So I can easily cancel out the 4's. And then my answer, it will be 3 divided by 2. So it's 3 divided by 2. And if I simplify it, how many times can I fit that 2 into the 3? The answer is 1. And I have a remainder of 1/2. Okay, so I get the same answer. So once again, for building a story, then you choose a unit of measurement. Again, could be anything. Could be miles, could be kilometers, could be pounds, could be grams, kilograms, anything. And then you'll set up a situation. You'll set up a model based on your specific situation. Then exercise number 2 says using the same dividend and divisor, work with a partner to create your own story problem. Okay, so now you can try cups, yards, miles if you prefer. So coming up with a story, we can say something like, it takes 1/2 cups of bananas to make a glass of shake. If I have 3/4 cups of banana, then how many glasses can I make? Again, there's situations here. Your answers are going to vary, but there's multiple scenarios that you can use to build a division story. Okay, so then let's go to the lesson summary. And this is a method of creating division stories, which includes the 5 steps. Again, remember, you have to decide whether you're doing measurement or partitive. Measurement usually means that you will have common denominators, whereas partitive means that you probably do the reciprocal to get the quotient. Okay, then you draw the model. The way you draw your model will depend on whether you use measurement or partitive to find the answer number 3. And then 4, 4, and 5 really is going to vary, depending on the situation, the model you decide to use, what units of measurement you choose. So the answer could be multiple. All right, you guys. So that was it for today. If you find some value in this, give it a like. So have any questions, let me know. But I will see you in the next lesson. All right. Adios.